Long-range communication is being used increasingly throughout the world by the military, public safety agencies, for maritime and perimeter security, and for wildlife preservation and asset protection. Introduced in 2003, LRAD is a powerful communication system that can determine intent, create large safety zones, peacefully resolve uncertain situations, preserve wildlife and prevent aircraft and wind farm bird strikes, and most importantly, saves lives on both ends of this long-range acoustic device.
This is a test of the long-range acoustic device LRAD.
LRAD broadcasts highly intelligible, live or pre-recorded voice messages and alarm tones in a 30-degree beam over distances ranging from 500 yards to over 5 miles. LRAD was created in response to the deadly October 2000 attack on the USS Cole.
Here was a USS destroyer in a Yemeni port. They didn't know if it were fishermen or terrorists that were pulling alongside them until it was too late. They turned out to be terrorists, detonated, killed...
And we know what happened.
Yeah, we killed many sailors, injured others.
The sailors aboard the Cole had no way to determine if the craft was piloted by fishermen or terrorists until it was too late. Since 2003, the U.S. Navy and most foreign naval forces have equipped their fleets with hundreds of LRAD systems. LRAD's ability to communicate instructions in any language clearly and effectively over distance enhances the opportunity to resolve uncertain situations peacefully,
Out of the vehicle and raise your...
while enabling military forces to communicate to unfriendly civilians from within the safety of their armored vehicles. Military personnel are trained in the proper use of LRAD systems and have full control of the audio output through pre-recorded broadcasts stored on LRAD's military-grade MP3 player or by issuing live instructions through a hardened microphone. Unlike bullhorns with their limited range and poor sound quality, LRAD broadcasts in a directed beam of sound that is loud, crystal clear, and can be easily heard and understood inside buildings, cars, and in almost any type of environment and situation.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly.
And I think that was the first time that a police department had used LRAD in a high-profile event. And what they were interested in is keeping the property damage down and the number of arrests down.
Homeland Security and law enforcement agencies are using LRAD for emergency responses and high-profile events to safely and clearly communicate to individuals and crowds from the air or on land and water. LRAD fills the gap between bullhorns and tear gas, tasers, rubber bullets, pepper spray, and other non-lethal responses. LRAD can be quickly modulated in response to protesters' actions, while ensuring that law enforcement's instructions are clearly heard and understood. LRAD's safe alarm tone is used in short bursts to get a crowd's attention and to deter the escalation of unlawful acts. By turning operations centers and passive surveillance networks into instantaneous first responders, the LRAD RX gives security personnel a new capability to remotely defend critical asset perimeters and borders from potential threats without leaving the safety of their control rooms.
You are in a restricted area.
Powerful cameras and infrared sensors will be used to detect the border crossers. Then the LRAD units could be trained on those crossers remotely. With each mile of border fence costing about $16 million, putting a $90,000 LRAD unit on every mile of rural border sounds pretty cost-effective.
Beginning with its use to defend the seaborne Spirit in November of 2005, LRAD has been deployed successfully many times to determine the intent of ships not responding to radio calls and to thwart pirates from hijacking commercial maritime vessels.
That is very piercing. You feel it throughout your body.
Absolutely. They use 2 LRADs on their vessels and make the pirates think, wow, do we want to attack this vessel that's obviously prepared? Perhaps we should go look at someone else.
LRAD systems, integrated with avian radar, are proving effective in keeping flocks of birds away from runways when commercial airliners are most vulnerable to potentially disastrous bird strikes. By steering birds away from airports through broadcasting a near infinite variety of tones and predator calls, LRAD can significantly reduce the approximately $1.2 billion spent each year to repair aircraft and facilities damaged by bird strikes.
Sound waves which can effectively scare off flocks of birds in the path of a plane and avoid possible bird strikes.
When a flock of birds hears that distress call, they'll take off. We have other annoying sounds that just get birds moving out of the air.
And moving out of harm's way.
I'm Calvin Duane. I'm Manager of Environment for Canadian Natural. One of the ways we manage wildlife is this system here. Our LRAD, or Long Range Acoustic Device, is here to keep the birds away from our tailings pond. Sounds start off with, first of all, being birds of prey sort of sounds, hawks, eagles, those sort of things to scare ducks and geese away. If that doesn't work, then it moves into more of a louder, shocking sound like a shotgun blast or something along that line. And then finally, if the bird is not deterred from that point, it goes into a distress call of a bird of similar species so that the birds will actually think that there's a very serious thing that they need to avoid.
Using powerful, crystal clear communication to determine intent, create large safety zones, resolve uncertain situations peacefully, and save lives on both sides of the long-range acoustic device, LRAD safely fills the communications gap for military, public safety, commercial security, wildlife, and asset protection applications.